everybody, my name is Lynn Ismael and welcome to my channel. It's been a couple of months since I bought those tulip bulbs and I just now have the time to plant them outside. I want to try to plant them in raised containers or raised beds, but for me to do that I want to make sure that there's good drainage because tulips doesn't like non-draining soil. Here I'm just mixing perlite and some black earth and just mixing them really well just to make sure that the tulips will be laying on top of a well-draining soil. For the raised bed, I made it myself. It's just a 2x2 made from a 2x8x8 plank divided into 4 to make 4 sides of 2 feet. This is it. So I didn't even bother taking the grass out because I figured it's going to be smothered anyway. It's a no-dig raised bed method. As you can see, I didn't really mix the perlite as best as I could, so I was gonna spray around and do it in the spot right there. This is a technique that I've seen flower farmers do, and I'm just trying this out in a small scale and see how it works for me. Harvesting tulips is very time sensitive. You have to harvest them at the right time. So I figured if I plant them in close to my house in the city, then it'll be easier for me to monitor them. Here I'm going to be planting them close together. I'm going to be treating them as annuals, so I don't need to give them as much growth or as much space as I would if I'm going to try to perennialize them. I do have to make sure there's spaces in between just so they don't get infected if there's any disease that could spread. I am hoping that some of the earlier varieties will start blooming sometime close to Mother's Day, just so I can have some blooms ready for my mom. But I have seen farmers put row covers just to increase the temperature around the tulips and force them to grow quicker than a normal tulip would in the landscape. The raised bed is very close to our house, so I would imagine there's going to be some heat reflected, or there's a little bit of micro temperature in that little spot. And also with the sunlight hitting the house across us is going to be reflecting more light and more heat to that spot as well. Maybe these tulips will start sprouting earlier. If not, I can try to putting some row covers around it to increase the temperature in the soil. So that'll be around April or so, and then we'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. It's been a warm winter the last couple of winters, so it's a trend that everybody seems to be experiencing nowadays. I don't have compost readily available, but luckily our local Canadian Tire has a few more of these soil for raised beds available for purchase. I like this type of packaging because you can just take the top off, and if you're lazy or out of time, you can just use the packaging as it is as a raised bed. But for this purpose, I'm going to be transferring or putting the soil into the container and burying those tulips down. I can't speak right now. So it is recommended that you bury the tulips or bulbs 2 to 3 times deeper than its height. And after I've filled it up, I water them thoroughly just to make sure that these tulips will have enough water to start growing and forming roots. I'm also doing this just so there are no air pockets in the soil and I can pile up more soil on top. I didn't apply any fertilizer because the tulip bulb will have all the fertilizer it needs, and because I'm treating it as an annual, I'm going to be pulling those bulbs out afterwards anyway. And also, this soil package that I bought, it already has some nutrients in it, so I didn't feel the need to apply more fertilizer. In the spring, I will amend the soil, this raised bed, when I'm ready to plant other types of cut flowers that I'm thinking. This spot is a little bit of a part shade in the summer because of our neighbor's tree. So I'm thinking possibly phlox, possibly some varieties of celosia. I'm not sure which one's more shade tolerant, but I've read that celosia can tolerate part shade. Another warm season annual that can tolerate part shade are cosmos, and I do enjoy using them in arrangements. Plus, they're somewhat drought tolerant, so I don't have to use water as much. I have 2 dogs, both Shepherd Husky mix, but one of them really likes digging. So to prevent her to do anything in this raised bed, and for other critters like squirrels to get too curious and dig the bed up, I'm putting some cover to protect it. Now that it's December and I'm not doing much gardening outside, my focus right now is planning for what my garden will look like next year. I think that's just how gardeners cope with the cold and the long nights, just looking forward for the future. Because you can't really be depressed if you have all these plans in your head that you want to implement and make possible. I'll also be starting some of my earliest cool flowers. At least a couple varieties of Eustoma, which is Lisianthus. I did grow Lisianthus last year, but I planted them out too late. So this year I'm going to be starting them early and planting them out early. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.